Hello everyone, tonight we step into the chilling depths of the ocean where history whispers secrets that few dare to hear. Among the restless waves lies a shipwreck so sinister that divers whisper its name in fear, a wreck said to be cursed where those who venture too close never return, or if they do, they carry with them nightmares that never fade. This is the legend of the cursed shipwreck, that no diver dares to explore. It begins with a storm, the kind of storm that ancient sailors believed was summoned by the gods, a storm that twisted the sea into mountains of water and sent ships splintering into pieces. Among these was a merchant vessel sailing under mysterious circumstances. Some say it carried treasures looted from faraway lands. Others say it bore sacred artifacts stolen from a forgotten temple. What is certain is that the ship never reached its destination, its wreckage scattered across the seabed in a place where the ocean itself seems to brood with anger. Fishermen from the nearby coast were the first to notice something strange. Their nets would snag on unseen obstacles beneath the waves, and when they hauled them up they swore they felt cold hands tugging at the ropes, though something from below tried to drag them back into the sea. Legends grew around the wreck. Some said the souls of the drowned sailors wandered restlessly, tethered to the very ship that had claimed their lives. Others whispered of something older, something that had been disturbed when the ship went down and now waited patiently in the darkness. Years passed, and technology advanced. Divers began to explore the ocean with new equipment and greater courage. But when they set their sights on this wreck, something always went wrong. The first recorded attempt to map the site ended in tragedy. A group of 3 divers entered the water. Their radios crackled with static as they descended, then silence when they were pulled back to the surface. Hours later, only one remained alive, his face pale and his mind shattered. He muttered only a few words again and again, eyes in the dark, eyes in the dark. Stories like these spread quickly in the diving community, and soon the shipwreck earned its cursed reputation. Some believed it was psychological, the power of suggestion making divers imagine horrors in the deep. But others insisted there was more to it. Compasses spun wildly near the site, electronic gear malfunctioned without explanation, and strange lights flickered beneath the waves, as though the sea itself glowed from within. Local lore connected the ship to ancient warnings carved into coastal stones, warnings that spoke of a forbidden place where no vessel should anchor, warnings ignored by the ship's doomed captain. The wreck sits at a depth where sunlight barely reaches. The water grows colder there, and the pressure squeezes against lungs and skull like an invisible hand. Those who dare to describe their dives claim that the wreck seems to move, shifting angles as though it rearranges itself when unseen, yet no current is strong enough to do so, and no earthquake has been recorded to explain the phenomenon. Some divers even claimed that when they touched the ship's wood or metal, they felt it pulse faintly like the heartbeat of a living creature. What lies inside remains unknown. No diver has managed to penetrate the inner chambers without disaster. Some returned with their air tanks half drained far faster than they should have been, as though something had stolen their oxygen. Others came up with cuts across their suits like claw marks, though no animal capable of such damage lives at those depths. And then there were the ones who never came back at all, swallowed by the wreck, as though it demanded a sacrifice. Every time someone dared to trespass, legends began to spread beyond the divers. Scholars grew curious too. What cargo did the ship carry? Was it really treasure? Something far more dangerous? Some historians pointed to accounts of a vanished idol taken from an island temple, its priests said to have cursed anyone who removed it. Others speculated the ship carried a rare mineral capable of emitting strange energy, the kind of energy that could warp compasses and disrupt human perception. If true, then the wreck might be less a curse and more a hazard of forgotten science. But the survivors' tales of whispering voices and phantom lights refused to be explained so easily. Night fishermen still tell of seeing shadows rise from the water near the wreck, shapes like human figures walking briefly upon the waves before vanishing into spray. Some claim to hear bells ringing beneath the surface, as though the ship still calls its crew to attention. On stormy nights, lanterns flicker upon the waves where no boats sail, glowing yellow, green, and red like ghostly signals, warning sailors away yet drawing them in. At the same time as mysteries deepen, so does human curiosity. Television crews tried to film the wreck, but their footage emerged blank. Cameras shut down without reason as soon as the divers neared the site. Sonar scans showed strange results, twisted shapes that seemed to change between passes, some resembling the form of the ship, others resembling something larger wrapped around it, like a sleeping beast waiting to be disturbed. The legend of the cursed shipwreck now lives not only in whispers, but also in unanswered day. As some call it haunted, some call it a natural anomaly, others refuse to give it a name at all, but they agree on one thing: no diver dares to explore it fully, not without risking more than just their life. And so the tale grows darker with each passing year. What secrets lie sealed in that wreck? What presence waits within its decaying hull? Is it the souls of sailors trapped forever? Or is it something far older, something that used the storm as a cover to claim a vessel and anchor itself in our world? As the story of the cursed shipwreck spread, it became more than just a diver's night. It became a legend that echoed across the world. The locals who lived near the coast began to avoid the waters surrounding the site altogether. Even fishermen who depended on the sea for survival swore never to cast their nets there. They told their children to stay away, warning that those who disobeyed would be taken by the drowned ones. Those pale figures that sometimes appeared in the moonlight, drifting just below the surface, as if waiting for someone to follow them down. In one coastal village, there was a tale of a man who ignored these warnings. He was a strong diver, confident in his skill and skeptical of superstitions. One night, he swam out alone, determined to prove that the wreck was just a story. When dawn came, his boat was found drifting aimlessly, his gear still inside untouched. But he himself was gone. The only trace left behind was a trail of wet footprints on the deck, leading toward the water's edge and stopping suddenly, as though he had stepped off into the sea, never to return. What is most disturbing is that weeks later, his wife claimed she saw him standing outside their home at night, his clothes dripping with seawater, his face pale and silent. She ran to embrace him, but as soon as she reached the door, the figure vanished, leaving only a puddle of salt water on the ground. She moved away from the village soon after, unable to bear the idea that her husband's soul might be trapped beneath the waves, calling out to her in the dark hours. Psychologists argue that these tales are simply grief-given form. People imagine the presence of their lost loved ones when tragedy strikes, yet the stories persist, because too many witnesses claim to have seen what logic cannot explain. Groups of sailors describe seeing entire crews standing on the wreck, their eyes glowing faintly, their arms raised as though in warning. When approached, the figures sink silently into the water without leaving a ripple. But the wreck is not only a site of fear, it is also a place of fascination. Wealthy treasure hunters have long been drawn to the promise of fortune hidden within its hull, and governments have quietly discussed sending advanced submersibles to study it, yet every effort meets the same fate. Machinery malfunctions before reaching the site, engines fail without reason, and drones return with scrambled footage, blurred images of shapes that defy recognition. Some experts studying these failures suggested that strong electromagnetic field surrounds the wreck. But if that were true, why does it pulse and fade like a living thing? There was even one expedition that attempted secrecy using a small unmanned craft designed to resist interference. It succeeded in transmitting a handful of images before its signal was lost forever. Those images showed twisted beams of wood and iron wrapped around something that looked disturbingly like bone, but far larger than any human bone known to science. Some argued it was coral growth shaped by time. Others whispered that it was evidence of something ancient and monstrous sleeping in the deep. The researchers who reviewed the images never published their findings. The files disappeared, and those who worked on the project refused to speak about it again. The idea that something alive lurks within the wreck has taken root in the imagination of many. Not just a ghost, not just a curse, but a guardian, a being bound to the ship, either awakened when it sank or already waiting in those waters long before sailors crossed them. The creature is said to watch with unblinking eyes, those same eyes divers claim to see in the dark, glowing faintly in the black waters. Some even described hearing a deep hum vibrating through their bodies, as though the sea itself was singing in a language older than humankind. And still the wreck remains untouched. It sleeps in its watery grave, defying exploration. The ocean swallows secrets greedily and holds them tight, but sometimes those secrets push back into our world through nightmares, through visions, through whispered stories told around fires. The cursed shipwreck is one of those secrets. It calls to the curious and punishes the bold. Its legend a reminder that not all mysteries are meant to be solved. If you stood on the cliff above the sea at night, you might hear it yourself, the faint ringing of a ship's bell carried by the wind. Though no ship sails there anymore, you might glimpse a flicker of lantern light moving across the waves as if the crew is still at work long after death. And if you are brave enough to look deep into the black water, you might see the wreck waiting patient, as always breathing with the ocean's tide as though it has become a part of it. One heart beat, one shadow, one endless silence beneath the waves. And so the cursed shipwreck remains a mystery that continues to grow year after year. Every unanswered question, another stone in its monument, every vanished diver, another name whispered in its legend, whether it is haunted, cursed, guarded, or alive. It resists the intrusion of humankind, leaving us only with stories, warnings, and the chilling truth that the sea holds more than we will ever understand. Some doors should never be opened, and some wrecks should never be explored.